legitimate baseball legacy. If you were in his orbit, you were happy. Kevin Towers was sick, diagnosed with a rare form of thyroid cancer, with doctors telling him the grave diagnosis: 1 to 3 months. That's how long he was told he had to live in December 2016. Towers refused to believe the doctors. Sorry, cancer picked the wrong guy. He was going to beat this disease. So instead of wallowing in self-pity, or go into depression, what does he do? He has a party. A Super Bowl party, hosted by his dear friend and neighbor, Barry Axelrod. More on Towers. Chicago Cubs president Theo Epstein, Towers' protege, was there. So was New York Yankees GM Brian Cashman. And former Detroit Tigers great Kirk Gibson. And Colorado Rockies manager Bud Black. They watched the 2017 drama unfold between New England Patriots and Atlanta Falcons like they were at a fraternity party, laughing, reveling in the fun as the beer and tequila flowed, just like old times. And there was KT, the gunslinger himself, acting as if he didn't have a care in the world. It was like brothers in arms, Cashman said. Kevin wanted a day like we used to have, which, of course, involved alcohol. We were going to do it like we used to. We toasted one another for the opportunity to be together. We had our shots. It was just such a great moment for our friend, one that I'll cherish forever. That was Towers, who lived nearly a year longer than doctors originally diagnosed, before passing away quietly Tuesday morning, leaving the baseball world in mourning. We all thought it was inevitable, says close friend Walt Giacchetti, who hired Towers as his special assistant with the Cincinnati Reds, but we didn't want to believe it. None of us did. He wasn't going to let this beat him. He just wasn't. My God, what a fighter. Towers was just 56. He was incredible at bringing people together, and finding a way to have a great time, said Epstein, making sure people enjoyed the experience of life, as it happened. He was never a worrier. He was always optimistic. He never took himself seriously. He cared so much about people that he wanted to make everyone feel welcome, connected and joyful. He could teach you how to be happy in life, celebrating the good, and the fun in people. And if you were in his orbit, you were happy. Even when Towers was diagnosed with this rare cancer, he refused to be sad. He didn't want pity. He told everyone he'd beat it, just like everything else in life. So he fought. He was a living miracle, getting stronger and stronger. The tumors that had permeated his body either disappeared, or shrunk in size. He slowly regained the 40 pounds he lost. He was walking each day on the beach with his wife, Kelly, and his bulldogs. Sure, he wasn't power walking 7 miles like his old days, and his stamina wasn't great, but he got around. He wasn't about to let this disease beat him. And he didn't, Epstein said. He was beating the cancer. Nobody ever lived that long that had that kind of cancer. For a guy who was put in such a tough situation, he never complained, he never wallowed in it. He did the opposite. He made every day a small triumph. Towers, who would have pictures of himself and Kelly sent every few weeks to show friends his progress, still had a large tumor near his heart, but that wasn't about to deter him. He was planning to come to spring training. But a virus on January 13 turned into a nasty flu bug. He was admitted a few days later to his San Diego hospital with fluid in his lungs. Once again, he was beating that, too. Doctors were set to discharge him Tuesday morning. He never woke up. It's so hard to believe, I'm numb, said Epstein, who worked for Towers as an intern after graduating from Yale. Every tough spot he was in his whole life, he always found a way to get out of it. It was KT's way. You would see him walk through the door with a big smile, strut across room, no matter what the odds were. I thought this was going to be the same thing. The entire baseball community, who knew the severity of Towers' cancer but respected his wishes for privacy, awoke in disbelief. Soon, there were hundreds of phone calls and text messages from baseball executives, scouts, friends, writers who had stories to share. I have never seen as many texts, voicemails and emails on my phone than I received today," Ullman said. "Kevin was an awesome friend who did more for me both personally and professionally than anyone, other than my parents." Texas Rangers executive Scott Littlefield, who worked with Towers in San Diego, will always remember Towers' silly superstition of not watching one of his greatest players, Hall of Fame closer Trevor Hoffman. When Hoffman came into games to protect a lead, Towers would always duck out, believing he was bad luck. Towers, sitting behind home plate within Dennis Gilbert's seats at Dodger Stadium that one day in 2006, told Littlefield they were leaving in the ninth inning with the Padres leading by 4 runs. Towers walked into the visiting clubhouse, heard the loud sound of the crowd, asked what happened, and Littlefield told him it was a homer. Kevin says, "I can't watch this, I've got to hide," Littlefield says. So there are all of the equipment bags from the Pirates in the hallway, because they were playing the Dodgers next. Kevin starts climbing. And climbing. He climbed all of the way up to the roof, over the side, and I couldn't even see him. We kept hearing the crowd noise. There was homer after homer. 4 of them in all. Eventually, we lost the game on a Nomar Garcia walk-off. Well, Kevin couldn't believe it. He storms into the clubhouse, and was furious. He ran right into manager Bruce Bochy. Bochy, who played with Towers in the minors, and were friends for more than 30 years, remembers it well. He had all of this stuff on him and was so discombobulated, Bochy said. "I told him, Kevin, you've got to leave now. I can't have the players see you like this." Man, was he competitive, no matter what it was. The two of them, Bochy and Towers, became inseparable, and perhaps had the closest relationship of any GM manager in the game. They golfed together, played cards together, ate dinner together, and won 4 division titles and the 1998 National League pennant together. "Nobody in the game had more fun than us," Bochy says. "That's the thing about Kevin. This guy loved life. And he lived life to its fullest. Every single day. Towers never worried about himself, never wanted anything written about his illness, didn't seek pity, but simply asked for everyone to keep enjoying life. Just as he did every waking moment. When the Chicago Cubs won their first World Series in 108 years in 2016, and Epstein had a private party 2 months later in January, Towers was one of the first people he invited. The way Epstein figured it, there would be no party without KT. Towers was his mentor, his role model and the man who helped develop him into one of the game's finest executives. "He taught me so much about life," Epstein says, "how to treat people, how to have the right attitude, how to allow yourself to be happy and enjoy life. I'm not wired that way naturally, but he taught me how to do that. In this game, so many people are cutthroat, looking out for themselves, or trying to squeeze the bottom line out of every situation. He was the complete opposite, saw the best in everyone, and tried to help everyone. Who wouldn't want to be around somebody like that?" said Arizona Diamondbacks scout Bill Brick, who has known Towers for 35 years. "He found the good in everybody. When I heard the news today, I went to Mass and saw the priest, and asked him why would he go now when it looked he was doing so well. The priest said, maybe he was suffering and didn't tell anybody. Maybe the good Lord said he suffered enough. Towers' death comes just 6 days after the Hall of Fame election of Hoffman, who along with Diamondbacks first baseman Paul Goldschmidt, were his 2 favorite players. He was thrilled to hear the news of Hoffman's election, and vowed to see him walk across that induction stage. "He always used to tell me that," said Boston Red Sox special assistant Gary Hughes, "I want to be around long enough to see Hoffy's induction." Well, he was sure there when Hoffy got elected. He fought so hard just to see that day happen. Certainly, there will be a San Diego Padres party in Cooperstown, NY, when Hoffman is inducted, and everyone who knows Towers, knows he'll be smack in the middle, in spirit. He'll stay right to the end, just like he did every time the lights would flicker, and shout out to everyone, "It's the lightning round." There are so many memories, And so much reflection today, Jacketti says, but after talking with so many people, there were a lot more laughs than tears. That's what Kevin wanted. He wouldn't want us to be sad at all. He would want us to celebrate life, just like he did every single day. That's what we'll do, but, oh, will he ever be missed? Follow Nightingale on Twitter and Facebook.